All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Jason Levine, and it is great to be back here on Adobe Live, Behance, YouTube, Twitter Periscope, and the Premiere Pro Facebook page with our special Adobe Video Livestream event, the In Lieu of NAB event, if you will. This is day 4, where we brought product team members and incredible customers to talk about amazing workflows and some of the new developments that we just released on Tuesday across all of the video and audio applications. Now, I want to remind everybody, we've got live chats going all over the place here. This is something, again, very unique to this particular live stream. We've got Adobe people in each of those networks that I told you about. The conversation is really happening over at Adobe Live and on Facebook. So for Adobe Live, you want to go to behance.net/Adobe Live or the Premiere Pro Facebook page, facebook.com/Premiere Pro. All right, so we're going to get started today with a very special guest, someone that I've known at Adobe, well, since I've started at Adobe. He's one of the original co-founders of After Effects. He's currently leading the Advanced Product Development Group, as well as the Character Animator team. We have an incredible sizzle reel that I want to play for you before I announce him. So check this out. Many of you will already know him. Take a quick look at this. And of course, the man in question is Mr. Dave S. Simons. How are you, David? How's it going today?
Great to see you.
So good to see you too, man. And thank you so much for joining us. Now, you are here not actually to talk about After Effects or Character Animator, but in fact, the new public beta, which has now been made available to all Creative Cloud users for the digital video and audio apps. Is that right?
That's right. And this is something that I've been doing this stuff for 30 years, and this is the biggest change that we've had in 30 years in the way we are communicating with customers and opening up our process for everyone to really collaborate with us and build the products together. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah. And, obviously we're not really the first in this space to do something like this, perhaps not on this grand of a scale, but what was really kind of the impetus for deploying this and making this happen for customers, particularly now?
Well, we've had a major focus on improving the quality of our apps. Started maybe about 18 months ago, and we've had great success with that. For example, the After Effects crash rate has been cut in half in that time.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And the Premiere crash rate has been cut in 3/4, so 75% reduction for the crash rate for Premiere. So amazing results. But one of the things that we haven't been able to do is the video landscape and the hardware that people run on is so broad, and testing in all of these configurations, it's something that we cannot really do ourselves. And so we have had a private beta program this whole time, 30 years, but it's just gotten to the point where we need more help to cover all of the possible configurations.
Right.
And by opening it up, we can do that, open it up to the public.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's two things really. It's the having a broader base of different machine configurations testing, but it's also working directly with the people who can give us feedback as we are building the products. And I can talk more about that in a bit.
Yeah. Well, and actually you bring up a really good point, because, certainly now compared to even a couple of years ago, configurations, right? There's so many configurations, so many different options, whether we're talking processor, graphics card, drive, storage, network-based storage. I mean, there's so many different configs that people can use and that people do use that ultimately impact the way that the apps run and work. This is a benefit to them as much as a benefit to us, ultimately.
Yes. Yeah. And we actually, even though it's public and open to everyone, we only expect a small fraction of our customers to do this.
Right.
But everyone will benefit because the software will be better tested before the regular release goes out.
Awesome. Well, I know you put together a super slick walkthrough of kind of the process here. So how about I bring that up and we go through kind of the experience of installing and working with the beta apps? Because again, I'm sure many people, now we went to approximately 100%, I think last week, right? We hit all of our CC customers.
I think it was a couple weeks ago now.
Oh, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. So this is open to everyone now.
Right.
We've been slowly rolling it out. Yeah,
but but we're so real time. You can see me waiting to say something. But I imagine many people haven't actually even noticed, right? You wouldn't know that it's there unless
Yeah, it's very subtle. We wanted to do a slow rollout and make sure everything's going well before we started really talking about it.
Perfect.
So this is the first time we're actually really presenting it,
right?
As to what you can do.
All right. Well, let's get to it, shall we?
Yeah. So it starts with the Creative Cloud desktop app, which is accessible through your menu bar, the regular way you do it, or on Windows from the bottom bar. So, okay, go ahead. And it's the Creative Cloud desktop app that you use to install your apps. But now down here on the left side is a new beta apps category. And if you click on that, you will now see a new set of apps. Currently, it will just be the digital video and audio apps. Other apps will be joining us here later. The button at the top can lead you to a FAQ that lets you get frequently asked questions. There's a lot of info in there. If you have questions that aren't answered by this broadcast, check that out. But it works the way you normally work. You just click to install, and here install Premiere. Or if you've already got the app installed, Jason, go ahead to the next one. You'll see the update button, and you just click on the update button, and you will update. Now, it's important to note that these are different apps than your regular apps. They install side by side.
Right, so and that's key. I mean, you can have them installed side by side. It doesn't break anything. It doesn't hurt having the release versions available. Having these kind of side by side.
Yeah, so it's just that easy. Just one click and you've got it, or one click and it'll update. You can even set auto update if you want, and it'll just update automatically.
Oh, right.
And these are being delivered daily in some cases. So this is really giving access to exactly what we're working on, and that allows us to then communicate with you, take feedback, and turn it around really quickly. And I can give you an example. We've already had a case. Jim Aquavella has been working on the tapered strokes in After Effects, and he got a request on I think it was a Monday, and by Thursday it had already been implemented and shipped as part of Beta Prime.
So cool.
So yeah, that it's that kind of really tight turnaround that we are trying to develop to make sure we are being responsive and, frankly, just creating better products. That's really what I'm most excited about.
And just this idea of getting things changed so quickly. I mean, I to some degree we kind of started this when we introduced user voice a couple years ago, where there was just more direct access versus the traditional forums and things. But this is really direct feedback to the engineering teams. I mean, this is the speed at which the commentary and things that people may suggest are being seen. It's immediate, and like you said, and I've noticed too. In particular, things like Media Encoder and Premiere, you're seeing a lot of these builds almost daily.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Okay. So if you click again, it will open up Character Animator, and hopefully.
Oh, whoops. Okay, hold on. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Okay. So just you can install and launch from the Creative Cloud desktop app. In this case, we're running Character Animator. And the splash screen, if you're not familiar with the regular Character Animator splash screen, is different, as in all the beta apps have a very different splash screen. Just to remind you, you're running the beta version. What's new here in the upper right-hand corner are two icons. There's the beaker and the feedback icon. Actually, that's technically that is an Erlenmeyer flask, but we call it the beaker. So go ahead and click on the next one. So clicking on the beaker will bring you to the What's New dialog. And here you can see the new changes since you personally last came into this dialogue. So it's customized. So if you're coming here every day and you're seeing and you're getting a new build every day, it will just show you what's new for you on this machine.
That's awesome.
If you want to go back and see all of the changes since the last regular release, you can go ahead and click next, and it will show you to the all changes. And that will be an aggregation of everything that has that has happened since the last stable release.
Nice.
And
I see you've even got like will ship in next release as well. So you kind of get a glimpse of what's coming at the same time.
That's right. Yeah. So these are all of the in development things. Some of them we internally call it graduated. Has it graduated so that it will actually ship in the next release?
Right.
And so, yeah, this allows everyone at home to see what the plans are and what's going to arrive in the next regular release.
Cool.
So besides the new changes and then the list of all changes, go ahead and click again, and you get to the feature rating section. Now, you will not be asked to rate a feature that is new. So only once it's no longer in the new area will it show up here for things that we think are ready to be released. And you get to say, yes, this is ready. No, it's not ready. Give us a comment. We read all of these, and we will take them all into account. So it's this to me is the most important part of the whole process, because one of the problems we've had, I mean, developing software, there's always this tension between you want to get it out to people and you want people to be able to use it, but you don't want to do it before it's ready. Right. But how do you know when it's ready? And in the past, before we had subscription, there was a very intense pressure to get the thing out because our revenue depended on shipping new features. With subscription now, it's fantastic because the developers' interests, the Adobe's interests are directly aligned with our current customers, not the new customers we don't have yet.
Right.
So there was a lot of pressure to create something shiny that would get us to upgrade, get the customer to upgrade to the new version. And our biggest competitor was the old version.
Right.
And that's not true anymore. Now we are being paid the bulk of the money we get. It comes from our current customers paying subscriptions. Right. Those are the people we need to satisfy. And so that aligns our interests, which is fantastic. There is still, however, the tension between, how do we get this thing out to the public to ship so that people can use it? And is it ready yet? Well, now, because our development process is open and everyone can see it and see what we're working on, that tension is like, we want people to be able to use this. Well, they're already using it, right? We're working on it. They're seeing and if somebody needs it, they can just one click, install the beta and work with it. Right. But this now gives us the time to really make sure it's solid and get the feedback. And so this rate feature section is one way we're getting that feedback and using evidence to prove that we are actually ready before the feature gets to be in the final regular release.
Awesome.
Okay. So as you can probably tell, this is something I feel very strongly about. It's just, it's always been our goal to create great products, but this is, I think, really a way for us to do it in a much better way than we've ever done it before. Okay. Well, what do we got next?
So we're going to close out of here. Yep. And go to our,
Yeah. So besides the beaker, there is also the feedback button there, and it has three ways to give us feedback. We've had this kind of feedback before, but this is just a much easier way to get to it. Right. So go ahead, go next. If you choose to report a bug, one thing that's different now is it will, with your permission, modify your clipboard with some system information to give us more detailed information about the version you're using, your operating system, all that. You don't have to remember that.
Which is something that a lot of people, when things have happened, don't always, send that data to Adobe, right? So this is actually a great way to make sure that all that info is contained in there. And
you just have to paste it, and it shows up there in the text, and then you can add in the steps of what you were doing, what went wrong, what you expected. And when you first type in your bug title there, if someone else has already reported this, you can see this and just add to their thread rather than creating a new thread. So that allows us to keep a single conversation around any given issue. Okay, let's go to the next section here. So then there's feature requests, which take you to user voice, which is the same way it used to work before. Yep. And that's all the same. And then there is also visiting the community, which brings you to the beta community, which is also where that bug reporting was taking you. And this just, if you don't have a particular bug that you want to report, but you just want to see what people are discussing, you can do that. And there's one thing I didn't mention is in the Beaker What's New section, some of those things will have a discuss button, and you can click on that button. And we're changing the name of that soon. It'll say I think more info or something like that. But there's a place to go directly to a thread from the What's New section as well. So new ways for us to interact, and we hope in the end create a better product. That's the goal here.
And I think too, it's the key that it's new ways to interact, but it's immediate ways to interact. I mean,
yes,
I don't want to undersell that idea. It's not like it goes into some email queue and some person somewhere has to send that to some group who eventually gets to it. It's immediate.
Yep. Yeah. The team is responding directly on the forum, and it's the regular community forum software, but it's a special beta section.
Right.
And it takes you directly there.
Awesome. And I think that's it for this, right? Is that the end of
That's it. Yep.
Very nicely done. Okay. Well, so I'm imagining now, again, we've got so many people in our Adobe people in the various chats, and I'm monitoring them all here as well, who are answering questions as we go here. A lot of positive feedback as well. So Andrew is asking, are libraries and assets available to and from beta to live versions?
So you should be able to, I mean, your libraries and your stuff on your disk,
right?
They're all available to both.
Right.
There will be times when we have added a new feature to the beta. Of course, if you create it in the beta version and then open it in the regular version, that feature can't work because it wasn't implemented. But
Right.
it is our goal to have it be both forwards and backwards compatible, where you can move back and forth. In some cases, that will lose the new thing you've done. In some cases, it will actually be retained. But we can't promise that will always be the case, because there may be some cases where we need to change a file format in a way that is not forwards compatible. In other words, the old version won't be able to open the beta.
Right.
It is our goal, however, to not have that situation, and to have it be forwards and backwards compatible the whole time.
That actually leads to a question AJ Leach is asking over on YouTube. Now, this one I don't know, but this is something which, and we don't typically do this, but things have been removed here and there. He's asking, can we see or eventually see what features are being removed, like the removal of display the project item name and label color for all instances? Sometimes we do deprecate certain things. Usually they go into kind of a waiting period before they're completely removed. But is that a plan as well?
Yeah, I mean, this basically all changes are going to go through this program. Like the builds that are being sent daily are the builds we're using. So any changes we're doing will appear in the beta apps. And so removal of something, this is a great way for us to remove something and find out turns out there are a lot of people actually using that.
Right.
Let's put it back. And that removal will then never get into the stable release.
Right. And that's key too, because I think, again, having such direct contact with us as the Adobe whole, right? There are certain sort of niche features which, again, on I say on paper, but in statistics may look somewhat insignificant, but may actually have a huge impact on a very significant portion of our user base that depends on them daily. And certainly, this is the opportunity to go, hey, I need this. Please, please don't take it out, And we've heard that too. I mean, I think that's actually been one of the nice benefits with things like Essential Graphics in Premiere in particular, where we still have the legacy titler. And just because some people really depend on and use a lot of archived projects that contain a lot of those old things. Now, obviously, the EGP is where we're moving everything towards. There's a lot more flexibility there. And now with productions especially, there's a much bigger reason to use EGP over something like the legacy one. But this would be one of those things where you could have that open dialogue and communicate about that, and we could weigh the benefits to keeping something like that.
Yep.
Very, very cool. All right, let's see what else we've got in here. Thank you so much, Adobe friends, for it's funny, actually, Rob just asked that as well. So did Jim. I was reading their mind. That's very good. Cullen saying looks interesting. All right, very cool.
One thing I didn't mention is if you have third-party plugins, the third-party plugin area is shared by the regular app and the beta app, and so you don't have to reinstall all your plugins.
Oh, right. Yeah, of course. Yeah, so that came up recently. So as far as plugins, and that goes for audio plugins as well as like After Effects and I imagine eventually when Photoshop hits, but all of those things still work the same, unless of course in that beta we're disabling plugins for some particular testing reason, I imagine, there's no additional installation or anything like that required.
There shouldn't be any additional,
Right. Unless, of course, paths have to change because the OS has changed where it places these things by default or something like that, which, again, we would communicate in advance. So while I'm, again, kind of continuing to scroll through all the questions here, I want to point out, of course, that you are wearing a shirt. You can only see the very top of it there, but it is the original character from Character Animator, the red monster. And,
our mascot,
That's right, the mascot, and which I've actually worn to present at previous NABs. I went slightly the other route today, with all of the online presentations and streaming and Zoom calls. And I said this, I did a live stream last week, live from the piano. It was kind of a relaxation stream. And I'm sure you've seen this too on all the various social places where people are talking about, yes, doing a Zoom call, no pants. Well, I have a shirt here, which is actually the title of one of my children's songs, which is Put Your Pants On. Notice I'm not going any higher because I'm not admitting that I have pants on right now. But you can check it out on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, and wherever music is streamed or sold.
I guess I should throw a plug out for Character Animator and a video that Dan Ramirez, a YouTube video that shows you how to use Character Animator in your Zoom call.
Yes, of course.
So that your child can appear as their favorite cartoon character, or maybe a character that they've drawn themselves in Photoshop or Illustrator in their classroom.
And it's using the NDI output for that, right? I've done it before myself. But this is super cool. And actually, one of our colleagues, Paul Tranny, who's been streaming, recently did one of his Adobe live streams where he drew himself in Illustrator, rigged it up directly in Character Animator, and did basically his whole presentation as his animated self, and got to leverage the walk cycles and all these other things. It's super fun and super cool. All right, Bernadette is saying okay to put your pants on. Yes. Oh, thank you very much, Jim Courtney. Appreciate that. Parker Gibbons, who needs pants in a stay-at-home world? Yes, very nice. Ron Hubner, what about virtual NAB swag? Yes, we're handing you, we're sending out all the bling that we can. All right.
We do post new monthly puppets for Character Animator. So that's linked from the Character Animator welcome screen.
Yes.
Just click on see more for more puppets. And
so that actually brings up a good question too. So things like that, would you see, Character Animator, I guess, is one of the few products where we do actually update content for the user. Are we likely to see like new test puppets, maybe testing out some new physics engine or something like that in these betas as well?
Yeah, really anything that's going to be in the product. Those ones some of those puppets we put in the product, and they're actually in the welcome panel inside the product. And sometimes they are linked out from the web. So the ones on the web would still appear on the web when they do, but the ones that appear in the product, yes, they will appear in the beta first, and that's how you would get access to them first.
Nice.
So it really is that the thing we're delivering daily there really is, we have done daily builds internally forever. Like that's the way we build the software.
Oh yeah.
It is now, for the first time, we are just giving access to the public to what we have had internally the whole time.
So, hey, our friend Trish Meyer, hey Trish, is saying we need to link puppets to your Apple profile image.
Okay.
Put that feature request in there, Trish.
Good one.
That's a good one. All right. So much good stuff here. It's looking really super positive. Oh, yes. And Trish, the Essential Graphics Panel, EGP. I apologize. I know the acronyms, they get a little insane. We have the Essential Sound Panel, but as Durin can attest to, we don't refer to that as the ESP for obvious reasons. So I think that was a corporate mandate, actually.
It is really nice to hear that Trish Myers out there. Trish is one of our very first beta testers for After Effects back in '92 when we started it, and it's great to be working in a community where it can be 30 years and working with the same customers, and it's awesome.
And it's really, and to think about it, not just to go back here, we got about 6 more minutes here. So just the history of After Effects in general. And think about how it's still at the top of its game 30 years later, still innovating, still doing so many cool things. I know we can't talk about these things, but obviously if you start using the betas, you'll see, you mentioned some of the things about tapered strokes. There's still so many new great developments coming to these applications. That's a testament to all the various teams that we're getting inspired by customer requests, but we're continually inspired by how do we change things? How do we make things be and look and feel different and more modern and just kind of up the game of these apps that have a really long legacy, but we want to keep them fresh for all the new mediums, all the new styles of animation and everything else. And we're continually trying to do that. And this is a great way for people to give that kind of feedback.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned the longevity. It's astounding to me that this little app that we wrote to save the company back in '92 is still out there and being used by people, which is, really gratifying, just that it's helping people do their jobs. And it's amazing.
It's amazing. And, you mentioned, again, we're calling out Trish a lot, but I mean, I've said this online before, but it was Trish Meyer and Angie Taylor who were sort of responsible for not only getting me into After Effects, but Angie personally. And it's funny, I found this photo yesterday. I was going to show it and then I neglected to copy it off. I actually have a photo of the day. I think it was 2003. Just joined Adobe recently within the last year, and she sat me down and just explained the traditional methods of keyframing and tweening, which I wasn't an animator. I was an editor and sound editor, so it was a bit out of my wheelhouse at the time. And then suggested, you should check out Trish and Chris's book and that stuff. And I mean, it's just amazing to think that there's still so much more to learn and so much more to do, and it keeps evolving. Every year getting better and better. And After Effects in particular, I mean, we've seen incredible changes over the past couple of versions with just speed and caching and more real time and leveraging more GPU. And I know that's one of the things that we're going to continually doing in this app.
Yes, it is amazing. 30 years later, there's still a huge amount of work to do. And
stuff to be done, right?
but part of the impact on me from working on some software that's had such a long life is I continually regret the mistakes that I make because they are placed in front of me daily, over the years, and the things that I wish we had done it differently. And so that's it's I try to learn from that, and hopefully with Character Animator we've done a better job, for example, of user testing. That's something that we all the products now do, but back when we started After Effects, it was really just putting stuff together as fast as we could, and we didn't have designers, and we didn't know but there are still paradigms that we're living with that were designed back before we had all of the really expert help.
Yeah, amazing. Well, David, it's so great to have you. By the way, I don't know if you caught it, but there was even Dave Werner, by the way. So Dave Werner, who many of you know, who's been presenting Character Animator at NAB and IBC and online for years, he put together that sizzle of Mr. Simons here. And you may have noticed there was a 3-second clip of the interview that we did. And if you can believe, it's only 3.5 years ago from the Make It show, right? Do you remember that?
Yeah, yes.
It was nice. It was really nice to see that. And again, I can't thank you enough for joining us today. And again, there seems to be a lot of really great positive commentary in here. Thank you so much, Rob Bernholtz and Anwar and Roman and Eliza. Oh, hey, Searless, what's up? Searless as well, working on Character Animator. Many of you know him too. Chip Howington. Want to remind everybody, of course, that replays for all of this are available across all the various networks. So on Adobe Live, Behance, Creative Cloud, YouTube, Twitter, Periscope. You can watch the replays. You can also watch all of the replays over the last 4 days. Now, coming up, we've got Penelope Niederlander and Amanda Gotera from Shine, and they're going to be talking about the title sequence that they created for the recent film Birds of Prey. And of course, no surprise, Dave, most of that title sequence was in fact created in After Effects and with a little bit of Cinema 4D. So they're going to be joining us at 10:30 Pacific time. So you'll definitely want to tune in for that. Amazing stuff, amazing artwork and illustration, amazing use of 3D. It's a real testament to just the strength and power of After Effects and what they actually did, not unlike your presentation today. They've kind of done a screen recording of the entire process of creation. And it lasts about 30 minutes. So it's time-lapsed, obviously, but you'll get to see how they built this entire thing up from scratch. It's really inspiring.
Sounds great.
Yeah. So that's what this is all about, right? This week has been about inspiration, connecting directly with Adobe team members, with customers, and we're so grateful to have you here. So David, I want to thank you again. Thank you so much for joining us. Everyone, have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. We'll see you back on behance.net/Adobe Live, Creative Cloud YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, and everywhere at 10:30 Pacific time for Penelope Niederlander and Amanda Gotera from Shine showing Birds of Prey. So until then, have a good one. We'll see you then, everybody. Take care.
Everybody. Thanks, Jason.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.